everyone, and welcome to our next project. So our first barn quilt is done. It's in the books. It's ready to rock. If you want to see how I did that, then check out our other barn quilt video. This barn quilt is going to be a little bit different. So this is the basic design that we're going for. So it's a circular design with this fish motif. I'm kind of excited about it. In fact, I found this design online a couple of years ago, and I've been carrying it around in my phone, just waiting for the right time to pull it out. And now this is the time. So this is what we're going to do. The problem that I'm having with this barn quilt, which is bad news since I haven't even started it yet, but the problem that I am having, and I anticipate will get even worse as I proceed, is that I cannot draw these fish. I have tried multiple times. I cannot draw them. I don't know. My brain just does not do it. This particular design I got because I traced it on some graph paper, hoping that would help me. But even with the aid of the grid, it's still not happening for me. So, so this will be a little bit of a challenge. Another thing that's going to make this project pretty challenging is that I am indeed going to do each fish in a different color. Now, it won't be any of these colors. As I have told you before, I only have Sharpie markers and a children's oil pastel set in the house. So I'm very limited with what colors I can practice with. But each one will be a different color, which means that there's going to be a lot of putting on the frog tape, taking off the frog tape, putting back on the tape, taking back off the tape, and so forth. But even though it's going to be super tedious, I really like this design and I really want it to work. So that's what we're going to do. All right, so here's my plan. Since I cannot freehand these fish, not even kind of, I have armed myself with the old protractor, just like you used to use in geometry class. And I am going to use this protractor to kind of check my angles for the little fishy faces and the fins and, all that sort of stuff. So I did take, if you take 360 degrees, which is the number of degrees that are in the circle, and I divided by 7 because I want 7 fish, it works out to about 51.4-ish degrees. It's not exact, but my hope is that I can replicate one fish onto this piece of cardboard. Then I will cut out the cardboard, and then that will be my stencil. Now, I know the cardboard is not going to cut very nicely and smoothly, but I figure if I can just get the rough idea of the design, then I can use the straight edge of the frog tape to make it all look nice. Because even though it's a circular design, each fish is composed of straight lines. There's not a curved line here. So that is what we're going to try to do. Make a stencil. Wish me luck. So just now, I took my cardboard over there, and this is about half the size of the board. In other words, this is about 18 inches here. If I measured it, which I suppose I should. Hold on. Okay. If I measured it, it would be actually 19 inches. So I want to make it a little bit smaller than this. But I don't have to get too whacked out about exactly how much smaller, because I will line it all up to the center of the board once I get that going. All right, so I'm going to start right there. That's going to be my start. And now I am going to draw a line that is roughly like one of these edges here. So I'm going to say like this. I suppose I can even do it like this. Ooh, look at this. I want to look at that. Lovely. I know, you're thinking, if you have any talent in this area, you're watching me and you're thinking, oh my goodness, what is she doing? I know, I don't blame you for being scared. All right, now I'm going to use my protractor. And I'm going to mark about 51 on my diagram. And I'm going to draw that line. All right, so what I have here so far is what I hope is a fishy face. I will move you a little bit closer because I bet that's hard to see. Okay, hopefully you can see this a little bit better now. Here's my fishy nose. And then this is the angle going that way and the angle going this way. All right, so I'm going to measure these lengths to be about the same. So if this is, let's call this 4 inches right here. Does that seem long enough? No, that does not seem long enough to me. So I will make it longer. You see how this is not a precise science. So now let's see what we have here. Now we have 6 inches would be right here. That looks pretty good. Let's try 6 inches. So that's 6 inches, and then I'll come up here and I'll make this 6 inches. Okay, so then once we're here, we need to come in a little bit. So I'm just going to measure it like right about here, and I'm going to bring it in about that much. So I'm going to go from, let me see, how long did I make that? 6 to 4.5. Perfect. And then here, well, I suppose I should measure. What's my angle measurement here? My angle measurement here is about 128 degrees. So here, I will do 128 degrees. And then I will measure from 6 to 4.5. Okay, that is hopefully this part of the fish. So I did my nose, I did these two, which are on top of each other, I did those two, which are on top of each other, and now I have these left. Oh boy. All right, so it looks like we're going up here. And I'll go, let me see, I have to see my whole fish so I can gauge the size. It's kind of nice that this doesn't have to be perfect, but I do want it to look good, so that is not a sharp enough angle. Don't look at that line. That was a mistake. Okay, there we go. If I start on 5. Okay. All right. Let's see. Now I want my midsection of this to be lined up with my nose. So this is going to come down to here, but it's going to come in a smidge. Okay. And then it's going to go out until it's about even with this. So let's just draw this line. Okay. And then this goes here. Right? Right. So there is my fish. What do I think? I think it's a little stubby. Here, I'll move you over here so you can see. What do you think? Don't you think it looks a little stubby? I do. So we need it to be longer. Okay, let's erase some of this just because I know from experience, too many lines just makes me confused. So I'm going to make this 5 inches now. And I'll make this 5 inches. Oops. Okay. I have a much narrower tail than they did, but could all still work out. Am I right? Sure could. Sure could. Could totally work out. Oh, that looks a lot better. Okay, let's see what we think of this. What do you think of that? All right, let's cut it out and see what it looks like. Okay, now I got myself a clean piece of cardboard. And just to make sure that I like this, I'm just going to draw part of the design and see if I like the, the general feeling I'm getting. So there's one fish, and then here would be another fish. So I just want to see, I do want to see for size, but more I want to see for, do I like the way their little fish faces look when they're all kissing each other? Because I suspect they could look pretty terrible. So I can see that for this last one, I'm going to have a little bit of adjusting to do. See, I'm going to have to extend this a little bit and extend that a little bit. But otherwise, that looks pretty stinking good. Wow, I am really kind of proud of myself, you guys. Here's our new board for our new barn quilt. So remember, we're using a different method this time. We're going to try stenciling. And this is my stenciled fish that I made. And I am unsatisfied with this size. I would really like my fish to go much closer to the edge. So I am a good, I don't know, 2 inches maybe short. So I will make another one. But I'm not going to do that right now. I am anxious to get started on this project. And, patience is not my strong suit. So we are going to get started. We are going to paint the back of this board. I'm going to put 2 coats all the way around. And I'm going to start with the back. That way I can flip around to the front and then I won't have to do the back later. I decided to paint my board white first because I want all 3 of my barn quilts, I want them to match. And on my first barn quilt, I had white underneath the gray, and I was afraid that if I left that part out, I might get a different color. So, plus I have 2 gallons of the white, so I have plenty enough, white to put coats around this whole board. Now, you might be asking yourself, why did she just dump her paint on the board? Well, it's because, look at this, my foam brush is too big to go in my quart container. So, I was improvising. I will put on 2 coats of this gray, and that will allow me to get a nice, deep, rich gray that then I can put the rest of my design on. Okay, so we are finally ready to do some more stuff. So I made this template just to make sure that I was going to like the way it worked, and I do. So now I can get rid of that. There we go. And now I am armed with just one little fish and a big board of gray. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to find my center spot. It should be exactly, yep, it's exactly at the 18-inch mark because this is a 36-inch board. And then I will measure down this way, and it should also be at the 18-inch mark. So there we go. So that is my center. Now, I know you can't see that mark. I marked it in pencil, not in Sharpie marker. And the reason for that is I do not want any of these little marks to show. So, yeah, so sorry, you're just gonna have to trust me. There's really a pencil mark there. Okay, so now I'm done with this. Excellent. Okay, so now the only thing that I know for sure is that I do not want this to look like a clock face. So I do not want something at 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock and noon. I don't want that. I want it to be a little off. So I'm going to line it up as if it were exactly at the 6 o'clock. And then I'm just going to tilt it a smidge. And hopefully that is going to give me what I am looking for. I'm going to use my pencil. And I'm going to, I am going to try to draw. And that did not work at all. I cannot see my pencil at all. Rats. Now what am I going to do? I hate to use Sharpie. Maybe a skinnier Sharpie. All right, I have to turn you off because I have to go scrounge around and find something, but I'm sure I'll find just the perfect thing, and then I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. I got a Papermate Flare, and I got it in pink because I'm hopeful that pink would cover up better if I put more gray on top of it. So this move right here could mean that I wind up repainting my whole board again if I can't get the lines to disappear the way I like. But let's hope that the lines disappear the way I like. So I don't have perfect coverage here. I'll show you in just a second, but I have good enough for me to know where my lines are, because after I get this whole thing stenciled out, then I'm going to take my frog tape and I'm going to start outlining a couple of fish at one time. Because each fish is going to be a different color, this process is going to take me almost forever. No, that's not true. It's going to take me probably today and tomorrow. But it's going to be worth it at the end because it's going to be magnificent. So I'm just going to do my stencil and then I will move to the frog tape. All right, so you can see that I have a very light pink design. I'm a little concerned about the center. I'll show you here. That's where all my little fishy faces come together. And I'm not happy with how that looks. You know, they don't look like they're all like actually touching noses. So I don't know what I'm going to do about that. I'm going to have to think about it. Here's another area that I'm not exactly sure about. You can see I have this fish here and I have this fish here. And my lines do not actually line up, right? So like I would have thought that this would be right here and then it would go that way. And it doesn't work like that. That one kind of does. You see this line comes close to there. This one, not really. That's going to be off probably 1/2 inch. This one's going to be off a little bit. Here's the point. Here's the connection. but it looks good when I'm back here like this. So I don't know if that's going to bug me or not. I think I'm going to give it a try and then see what's what. So I'm just looking here for the fish that I think is in the very best position, where its nose is hitting right where I want it to hit. And I think that that is this fish right here. Could be this fish. This is another nice looking fish. This is the center right here. So I think I'm going to go with this fish. Over here, underneath my grow lights, you can sort of see the kind of colors and the color pattern that I was thinking of. I tried a couple of different options until I found one that I liked. I think I'm going to go with this one right here. Okay, so it's late at night. I'm supposed to be getting ready for bed. I am not. Why am I not? Because I'm worried about my first little fish. Yeah, I can't sleep unless I know, does my paint cover up my pink lines okay? Is my little pointy part really in the center of the board? I don't know what to tell you. I can't sleep until I know. So we are going to remove this tape and see how it's going. Now, it's just barely dry. In fact, the parts that are still on the green tape are not dry. But I don't care. I have to know. I see that I have to be more careful where I put my tape down so that my tape is on the outside of the pink lines. So the paint does cover up the pink if it goes over the pink. All right, I'll show you up close. So here's the up close. Can you see I still have a pink line there? That's because my frog tape was in the wrong spot. Also, I have a fair amount of bleeding with this light colored paint, which annoys me. But since I'm going to have to fix it all so that I can cover up the pink line anyway, I guess I won't get too worried. The paint is not really truly dry, so, you know, I did rush the whole thing. That's where I'm going to try to get everything to line up, is right there on that point. This is going to be a tricky job. My patience is going to be tested for sure. Okay, so I retaped the tail. You can see there's the pink line that I missed before, so I'm just going to do it again. And I pressed with my nail all around the tape to try to get a good seal to see if I can keep it from bleeding. My tail is going to get quite a bit wider. I don't know how I feel about that. And then up here, I'm not doing anything. I do see a little bit of a pink line here, but I figure my other color is going to cover that, so I don't have to worry about that. So, so it's really just the tail section that I'm going to fix up. Also, because I was impatient and I scored this while it was still wet, that needs to be covered up too. So I'm going to fix that right now. All right, everyone. So let me tell you, I took the frog tape off this morning after everything has had a chance to dry, and I can still see a little bit of my pink line because this light color does not cover over the ink of my Bic Flair pen very well. So, it's not terrible. It's not terrible. It's not perfect. And that leads me to a conundrum. Do I continue to push through on this project, even though after one fish, I have noticeably pink lines, a realization that my fish do not line up properly, a realization that all of their noses don't touch the same spot, and I also have a series of little tan drips where I dripped when I was carrying my thing. So do I take all those setbacks and I repaint the whole board and start over again? Or do I stubbornly ignore these warning signs and press on? Would you like to take bets as to what I'm going to do? You're right. I'm going to press on. Yes. This, with the full understanding that I might have to cover it over again and start over. But I think I can get it to work, can't I? Of course I can. Of course I can. And so I'm going to try. Let's tape off another fish. All right, let's get an up-close look at how this is coming out. First of all, you'll notice that I made my green and my tan colors match perfectly. And you'll see that I got very little bleed over. And you'll see that here, up here, I still see a little bit of the pink line. See the pink line right here? But that's not going to matter because this next color is going to cover it over. But down here, I was able to successfully cover all the pink lines, which is fantastic. Now, it did take me 3 coats of paint in order to cover the pink lines and a fair amount of worrying about it, which I'm sure helped. But this definitely looks good enough to do another fish. So let's get at it. I just want to show you a close-up of what I've done here. So this piece of tape right here is part of the audible that I'm calling. You see that I have lined up this piece of tape so that it hits this corner of the green one right where I want it to. That means that I am quite a ways off of the original pink line that I drew. But I'm hoping it all looks good. It's really hard to judge what the final product is going to look like with the frog tape down, because the frog tape gives your, it messes with your mind, and it's hard to see what the final thing is going to look like. Waiting for the paint to dry. So I thought I'd give you a rundown of what I'm discovering so far. First of all, you have to have a lot more patience with this method. Well, the stencil part is not what's holding me up. What's holding me up is that all of my designs converge here in the center. So I can't really do more than one fish at a time. Like in my mind, I was going to do like a fish on this side and a fish on that side and have them going at the same time. But that is just not possible because all the little fishy noses are supposed to touch each other. So, so I have to be more patient. And so that is killing me. That combined with the fact that it takes 3 coats of paint to cover up the stinking pink marker, it means I really have to be like super patient, and I am often not, which means then I get more bleed through, and I stuck my finger in the pink paint over here. I wiped it off, but trust me, there was pink paint on my finger because I didn't wait for my pink fish to dry all the way. So this is a really hard way for me personally to do it. So if I were going to do fish again, I would have them all separated really far apart so that I could paint them all at once. That would be my plan. The other thing that I will say about this is that I am not liking this design as much as my inspirational design that was on the computer. I found it on Google search. The one on Google was like a dark blue fish and then a medium blue fish and then a dark blue fish and a medium blue fish and a dark blue and a medium blue. But I really wanted to use all of my great colors that I got at the paint store. So anyway, I am not loving this right now. Now, in fairness, I am on the lighter color side. These colors up here will be bolder, so perhaps I will like it more. But I have already been thinking of how to spice things up a little bit. So what I might do is I might try to decorate each fish. And I'm thinking that if I put the same decoration on each one, that'll also kind of bring them together and maybe, I don't know, just make it seem a little bit more cohesive. I don't know. So watch for that, because that's what I'm thinking about during all this time that I cannot actually be painting. Once again, I am working with what is the best utensil to write on my paint with. And I went back to the pencil as opposed to my pink marker. And I didn't like it again. First of all, now that there's all these paint marks on here, it's really hard to keep a steady hand. You know, the pencil lead kind of gets caught in the paintbrush strokes and doesn't let you go exactly where you want to go. Now, I suppose I could get around that if I pressed really hard, or if like I took my utility knife and I scored what I wanted to do and then I painted, or then I tried to draw. But that seems like kind of destructive. So I'm not using a pencil either or a marker. I'm just gonna wing it. I know. This is totally insane, because I might very well wind up repainting all of my fish. But I think my fish need a little something else. And I said this a day or two ago, and I've been thinking about what I want to do for the fish. So I do actually have an idea. So that is what I'm going to work on now, is making my idea happen. take a second and show you the difference between these two paints. This right here is the flat exterior grade primer. And this, much more vibrant and shiny, is the white acrylic that I pulled out of my craft set. I was unhappy with how the regular white was looking, and I was very happy with how my little eyeballs turned out all nice and shiny, and that was black acrylic paint. So I decided that I would try the white acrylic paint, and I like it so much better. You could see that it's much more vibrant, and I was able to put it on much thicker, and it just felt like it went on better altogether. So I would say that for small detail work, I think I like the acrylic paints better than the flat ones.